Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling, and shall we see what's going on our lovely little island of Fawnhollow today as we eagerly await whatever new things Animal Crossing will bring to us today, which is not going to be much. It's going to be a repeat of International Museum Day. Are we going to do it this time? No. To be perfectly honest, it's not that interesting. But it's not that it's not interesting. It's more like you only need to do it once. It is International Museum Day after all, not International Museum Week of the week, I suppose, allowing everyone to get the opportunity to do it lest they be busy on other certain days. But here we are. Hello there, everyone. Right now in Fawnhollow, it's 4:49 on Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. Nothing to really speak of today, so it's just another regular Wednesday. What song is that? Just another manic Monday, right? I don't know who sings that. Probably like Lindsay Lohan or something. Something like Lindsay Lohan from Pitch Perfect. You know that? The a cappella hit sensation starring whatever her name is. I forgot her name. I know her name. Hold on. I know her name. As I say, jamais vu, where it's on the tip of my tongue and I can't remember it off the top of my head. Why don't I remember her name? She was in Twilight as well. She's a pop culture legend as far as we're concerned. What's her name? This is actually going to annoy me now. I'm never particularly good at remembering celebrities. Not that I really have much motivation to it, I suppose, in the first place. But Anna Kendrick, right? I remembered it just before I loaded it up. There we go, Anna Kendrick. Anyway, that's completely irrelevant. I don't even want to talk about Pitch Perfect today. What should we talk about? I don't know. We've got lots of things to talk about, which is exactly why I'm listing them off the top of my head right now, using all the bullet points. You want to talk about bullet points? I could talk about anything for half an hour. That's not true. But there are many things I cannot talk about. I mean, it's the sort of thing where I think a lot of people could talk about like anything they wanted for like half an hour, maybe not continuously straight, and you know, some people are better in practice than others. It's just like, should you? It's another thing. Like, the amount of knowledge I have about many things is rather surface level, unsurprisingly, because as it happens, there are many things in the world, and only so many things I've really learned to a certain degree of depth about. So sort of like, am I going to spend half an hour trying to talk about quantum physics when I barely even understand it in the first place? No, that sounds like a fool's gambit. I mean, if I took the time to at my day to learn about quantum physics and, you know, I was like passing on the information, that'd be far more interesting. But, you know, I haven't really done that. I mean, I could talk to you about, I don't even know. But any time off my couch feels like forever, so it might only be in a few minutes. Are you asking to move out? A silk shirt. I just want a villager to move out. We have far too many Nook tickets. Oh, I want to play the Animal Crossing Gacha. Hey, if I wanted to play that, I'd just play some Pocket Camp. Hi-yo. No, I mean, Pocket Camp's kind of cool, but yeah. It's a gacha game. And the gacha systems aren't even that great in it compared to other ones. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. We're not really here to complain about gacha systems in Animal Crossing. That seems a bit, not past my pay grade, but it's more like, what's the point, I suppose. Anyway, I don't know, what information's been going on? What games have been released recently? I'm trying to think if there have been any that came to mind. Not really, that I've been thinking of. What have I been up to today? What have I been up to today? I feel like I've done nothing today. I mean, that's definitively not true. I just haven't done any programming today, which is why it feels like nothing. I haven't done any drawing. I just woke up kind of late because, you know, I was like on a bit of a weird sleep schedule. Honestly, I just blame my friend Milky. It's not actually his fault or anything, but he's on quite a late sleep schedule, and sometimes I'll spend time drawing in the evening, because often, you know, I do work in the mornings to afternoons, and, you know, spend the rest of my time doing recreation. In the evenings, I start doing recreational stuff like playing games and drawing. So oftentimes, like it's like 11 or midnight, I'll join our personal Discord server, see what's going on. Drawing call, and you know, I'll just be drawing, and then sometimes that translates to drawing as well, because Milky's kind of learning how to draw and that sort of thing. And it's all in good fun. But then, you know, the nights go on, and you have conversations, and wait, that sounds so suspicious. You have conversations, and you know, before you know it, it's 3 a.m. and you're going to sleep, and you're like, oh no, I'm going to wake up at 11, and lo and behold, I woke up at 11 today. You know, so obviously I'm not going to sleep that late. Hopefully today, or at least I'll aim not to. If I do, then whoops, I guess. That's all I can really say about that. But yeah, no, sleeping is difficult, you know. Sheesh. As you know, it's always harder to get sleep, and You might think. Take a second. I swear I read somewhere it took like an hour to get to sleep. Oh, you know what I want to talk about is I'm putting one of my older friends on blast. So from secondary school, like used to have like this absolutely insane sleep schedule at university. So much so that basically he was like he kept like getting to sleep like later and later and later, waking up later and later and later. I don't know how he managed his schoolwork, to be honest, but I suppose he did in the end somehow. But yeah, in fact, it got later and later and later. At some point, I think someone suggested to him, but he's eventually going to be completely out of phase of a waking world. And that he was like going to sleep at like he was going to sleep at like 8 a.m. and waking up at like 8 p.m. or something. He just got completely out in anti-phase with the rest of the world, which is, you know, not that weird, because it's not like the rest of the world. There's like people who work graveyard shifts. I'm sure, but they do. Had to go to sleep when people start waking up, and, you know, wake up when people go to sleep, that sort of thing. But eventually, like, his sleep schedule just kept like slipping further and further and further behind, until eventually he basically was like waking up at 6 a.m. and going to sleep at like not 6 p.m, like 10 p.m. or something, like much more regular hours, or like much more into the normalcy realm of sleeping hours, which, you know, one, that sounds absolutely like a huge nightmare to work with, because, you know, your sleep schedule's changing all the single times. It probably has a detrimental effect on your mood, is what I'd imagine. That sort of thing. But part of me is sort of like a little bit envious about that. He's like, you know, he somehow managed to squeeze out a whole extra day in his in his life, a whole extra working day in his life, just by like sleeping later and later and later every single time. So, you know, it gets you thinking, what if like just every single day I went to sleep, maybe not every single day, but like once a week I shifted my sleep cycle to be like 1 hour later and 1 hour later. Obviously that's unfeasible for me right now, because I kind of need to be in sync with a waking world. But if I was like doing a job which does not require like being awake at other time, I'm trying to think of a job which would like work around, like obviously something freelance could do, but even then you're talking to clients and you kind of want to be on there respond in a timely matter if you want to be quick with it on a grand scale. But it has to be something you can do like no matter the time. I'm not sure. So it's like something which has to be done every day, but does not have to necessarily be done at a fixed time. I don't know. Or something with like, I don't know, constantly shifting work schedules. Anyway, if you have that going on, you could just like each week offset your sleeping hours by like 1 hour, you know, like say like right now I go to sleep at like 11 or midnight. Well, I try to in recent days, not going all so well. If you do that, then like next week you start sleeping at like 1 a.m. or something instead. The next week you start sleeping at 2 a.m. because that should be like a gradual enough like shifting that it's not gonna upset your circadian rhythms all too much. I mean, there's probably something in there about going when you're shifting it enough, like going to sleep at 10 a.m. probably feels kind of weird, but and unnatural. But, you know, I feel like a week might be enough time to adjust to it, and don't quote me on that because I am not a sleep expert, which is called, I don't know what an expert on sleep is called. This is like a little bit, a tidbit of pub trivia that you might find out. So let's see. Scientist sleep schedule? No. Scientist who studies sleep. Neurologists. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that feels like a more generic term, but, you know, fair enough, I guess. We also need to get a fish for CJ. But yeah, if you like slowly offset each week your sleeping patterns by 1 hour, you're gonna, in 24 weeks, you know, in half a year, you're gonna squeeze out 1 extra day. That the rest of us haven't lived. Well, have lived, but like we were sleeping through most of it. Which is, you know, you might be like, whoa, that's crazy. How's that gonna? That's remarkable. I'll do it right now. In which case I'm going to be like, don't do that, because you know what would probably be a better option is like, if you wanted to squeeze out an extra day, perhaps you just like stay awake for an hour later for like 24 days in a row. Then whoa, it only took you 24 days and you managed to squeeze out an extra day. Sorry, I need to check what the low battery. Okay, we'll switch that now. The hot item is for today. so we get some juicy Nook Mile ticket points. If I don't find one of the villagers I want to find, this next time we're going to be villager hunting. That's going to be quite sad, I must say. But, you know, it happens. C'est la vie. C'est la vie. The hit single by Bewitched, an Irish girl group. What was it? Iron Garden Chair, Paw Print Door Plate. I think Paw Print Door Plate is quite easy to make if I remember. It's just wood. Are you kidding? We never knew how to make a signpost before? It's actually astonishing. So let's just scroll down until we find it. We can, in fact, make it right now. I meant to favourite it, but there we go. Yeah, what was I going to say apart from that? Yeah, just stay up like an hour later for 24 days in a row, and you'll squeeze out an extra day. But this time is much more better distributed because you don't have to mess up your sleep schedule for all the time. But you know, sleep schedule is a tenuous thing. It's a delicate thing, which is underappreciated. A lot of people find because, you know, I suppose in our workday world, people are like always like trying to maximize the amount of time you have on this world, and you know, spending it sleeping is unproductive on the sense that you do it because you need to sleep, and you know, there's too much pressure onto that sort of thing. You know, you should not cherish, but like give a greater weight to the time you need to recharge yourself. You know, obviously some people are just I was gonna say some people are built different. Like some people, like they can operate on a few hours of sleep or a few hours of relaxation or whatever each week, and fine. Like if that's what it is, if that's what you can deal with, that's perfectly fine. Just, you know, stick with it. You know, and I suppose at the time you have, which is for yourself to relax and recharge, you should definitely put we should put that down. Greater weight onto it. It's much more important than people give it credit for, is basically what I'm trying to say. Being able to recharge yourself. And I suppose the bigger part is a lot of people, it's a lot more variable between people than you might expect. You know, some people might need like 12 hours of sleep. Get fish each day, and some people just might need like 4 or something. I don't really know how you find that sort of information out. I guess you can go to a sleep scientist if you're not one of the people who falls into the usual range of like 8 to 10 or so, and then from there you can see what works best for you. Now, obviously, I'm not a sleep scientist or anything like that. I'm much more into a realm of dreams, I suppose, rather than sleeping necessarily. But what are we doing? Something I wanted to do. Oh, we need to buy a Nook Mile mission, then we need to customize. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so sleep is a dreadful thing to waste. Like, I remember, I felt like I read a study. Well, I didn't read a study, I read the results from a study. Let's be kidding, because I was like 14. Like heck, I'm going to read an entire scientific study about age. But still, there's like some study that apparently it's a lot better for, especially teenagers, that school would be starting later rather than earlier. Like instead of starting at like at 8 a.m, 9 a.m, depending on what school you go to, that it would be a lot better if it started like around, I think it was like noon, and goes on to like 6 p.m. And some, as you know, like more teenagers' brains are awake at that point. And you know, of course, me, a teenager reading out time, was like, heck yeah. Actually, I probably wasn't like heck yeah. I was like, I don't really mind, but I can see the merit in it for other people who are not necessarily me. Hello, Lily. What are you thinking about? You better not ask to move. Maybe you can help me out with a problem. You got a shaved ice maker. I'll gladly take a shaved ice maker and not have any idea what to do with it. What was I going to say? What was I gonna say? That's not a song. Yeah, but like part of me also thinks, like, obviously, you know, you can come at it from a very scientific attitude, and probably that is the answer. It's like, oh, you know, it's because of like when you're a teenager, you're going through like hormone and rebalances, and you know, the chemicals in your brain get not upset, but like the balance of it can get upset, which leads to teenagers favoring a much more like a later circadian rhythm or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a biologist. But like part of me is just like, you know, how much of it do you think is chalked up to like teenagers being a little bit rebellious, you know, being like, oh, staying up later, you know? That's a more adult thing to do. I wasn't allowed to, but now I can now, you know? Or like the social aspect of it is basically what I'm trying to say, because, you know, it's rather popular for teenagers to go to sleep later, and, you know, you come to morning the next day. coming to school next morning, and you're just like, oh, I got like no sleep. I got like 4 hours of sleep, and you're like, you got 4 hours. I got like 3 hours. I was up all night, which is honestly something you shouldn't probably have a bragging contest about. It's not also something that happens all that often, but you know, I'm creating a straw man argument here just for the sake of it, conversation. But I forgot what I was saying. How much of it is due to the social aspect of teenagers like wanting to stay up later and that sort of thing, that they favour it, you know? Because I didn't read a study. Who knows how they could have conducted it? Did they actually like measure the circadian rhythms of teenagers and be like, oh, like blah 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 blah. This is exactly how it works out for them. Or did they just like survey a load of teenagers? Like, when do you want school to start? Because you know, I'd imagine a lot of teenagers would be like, oh yeah, I'd much rather school start later because I don't want to wake up at like 9 AM or whatever to go into education where I'm more sleepy and groggy. But you know, is it actually, is there a biological cause for it? Is basically what I'm trying to get at here, rather than necessarily a preference or a social, not stigmas per se, but inclination, a social inclination to sleep at certain times than others. Now, the answer I don't know, and if I was to bet, there's probably some circadian rhythm thing to do with hormonal imbalances, is my guess. But obviously, you can't really just like change your entire working school week, because you know, it's not just the teenagers who need to go to school. There's kids as well. You got to work around for adults as well who had to like drop off their kids to school a lot of time. Maybe not teenagers so much, but you know, if like teenager school time like ended like 3 hours later, you know, after school activities go on to like 9 PM, and the adults' working hours are like from 9 to 5, it's going to be a bit awkward. Like dropping off to school, like I can't drop you off to school. I'm sorry if you need it, because I had to be in work for like 3 hours into my working day. So obviously it's rather unfeasible. Like, I think I talked about this before. There was like I can't remember, maybe it was like in Russia or something. They tried to implement each citizen was designated like one of 7 different working schedules or whatever. So like people could like there'd be people continuously working all the time or something along like that. But then, you know, it didn't really work out, because you know, then like people who are in relationships like never see each other, like kids and families were like being separated, not separated, but separated like temporally, which is not something you particularly want, and that's just like, you know, not feasible for working world. It's an ongoing thing that you got to make compromises, because you can't satisfy everyone in the world, which is, you know, kind of like fair enough. Often the simplest solution is often the best, is why people say that sort of thing. Obviously, this doesn't go for everything in existence, but, you know, for this specific scenario of, like, working hours and sleeping hours and what works out best for the working world, there's not much compromises to be made, because you can't really do anything else. This is as far as you can go. This is as far as you'll go. That sort of thing. Let's customize our tools before they break. I'm only gonna break your heart. I don't know what we need to customize, to be honest. What might break? Probably not fishing... not fishing rod, probably not watering can. Either fishing rod or bug net. What have we done more of recently? I think we did a bug net kind of recently, so let's do a fishing pole. But yeah, I don't know where I was going past this. I don't know, sleep schedules is just kind of weird. You know, there's like that sleeping system where you can sleep for like half an hour. Not a half an hour every day, every single day. I bring it up all the time, but like I never even bother to look up what it's called for no apparent reason. But it's a thing where like you sleep for a total of 2 hours each day in like 20-minute spurts or something, like 8 times. 8 times? That doesn't work. 6 times throughout the day, which sounds utterly terrible. Because I remember I was talking about it with some old classmates from uni or something, and they were just like, "Oh yeah." Apparently it's just like utterly terrible for like your health and everything, but like your body somehow like functions still. But like when you first read about it, you're like, what? That sounds crazy. Of course, not many lifestyles are particularly conducive to this, because you would have to basically take like a half an hour break every... What was it, like half an hour break every hour? So when you split your day up into 1.5 hours, so what's that? 24 divided by 1.5. 24 divided by 3 is 8, 16 blocks. No, wait, that's just sleeping for 8 hours. That can't be right. Maybe it's 1 hour, half an hour every 2 hours. Anyway, whatever the system is, that's what you do. We need to really shoot down a balloon. So I guess as we're walking around for CJ and putting down this yellow butterfly model, we should really look out for a balloon, huh? Where can we even put this yellow butterfly model down? It's not a lot of spaces. Well, where's CJ? So that was easy. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, don't do that sleep schedule unless, I guess, if you want, maybe. Probably, like, don't really take my advice on it. Go to a neurologist if you want to talk about that sort of thing. But it's a thing which exists. Am I ever going to do it? No, probably not. Maybe I'd be willing to give it a try, but I'd imagine the transition from regular sleeping of, like, in 8-hour blocks to, like, half-hour blocks is just... It probably just drains you entirely, doesn't it? It must be terrible. Like, the first few days especially, you're just like, ugh, I want to go back to sleep. But then you're like, no, I got to keep awake. And, you know, you just end up, like, slowly nodding yourself back to sleep. That is, like, one of the worst feelings as well. When you have to be awake, but you're, like, slowly nodding off. And then you, like, lean forward a little bit and you just, like, your head, like, snaps down and you, like, snap yourself awake because you're like, ugh, I'm, like, falling. Has that happened to me before? No, absolutely not. Definitely not in, like, lectures, maybe. Back in university and in rare cases, maths class. Oh, man. I remember, like, I can't remember one day, I must have just, like, slept horribly or something in secondary school. And I was, like, during maths class, I was like, oh, I'm actually falling asleep if I close my... And I was like, okay, how am I going to get in, like, a little bit of rest in between in this maths lesson? Or, like, a way to, like, because, like, it wasn't like I was trying to, like, sleep in class. Because obviously I wanted to, like, pay attention and, you know, do well and study and that sort of thing. And that's with no hint of irony right there. But like, you know, when you're that tired, closing your eyes, even something as simple as closing your eyes can just, like, help give you a little bit of energy to keep going on for a little bit longer. Okay, so we'll coconut this, catch 5 fish. Here's 6 fingers, now here's 4. So it was basically every time the teacher, like, turned around to write something on the whiteboard, I would just, like, close my eyes, and then, like, as he, like, turned around again, I would open them again. You know, through that I probably got about a whole extra minute of me closing my eyes, which rejuvenated me enough to for class to end, and then make my way home. I don't know, yeah, like sometimes just during school I'd just be, like, unimaginably tired for no apparent reason. I mean, it's probably to do with, like, certain lessons being, like, much more low-key than others, without so much active participation, so my brain's like, oh, it's a good time to, like, you know, switch off. And it's just like, oh, why don't you, like, go to sleep? So it, like, activates the response of my brain to be like, oh, you know, have that sleepy grogginess. And I'm like, no, brain, stay awake. But because it's not very active, classroom was like, no, you don't need to do that. You're just sort of vibing here. And, you know, in the combination with perhaps not as good a night's sleep as or something the night before, and, you know, you get a lesson where it's hard to stay awake, and not for any fault of a teacher or anything, just through fault of biological functions, full stop. So yeah, that's what I used to do when I was tired. I would just, like, close my eyes and then wait for the teacher to turn them back around and open them again. To be honest, the teacher was pretty cool with me, and I was a good student, so he would probably been like, oh, you want to sleep? Oh, alright then, but, like, do your best not to. Probably wouldn't have gotten in trouble or anything. But, I mean, I guess it's different if you actually fall asleep. But, I don't know. They should put, I was going to be like, they should put beds in school. So, you know, if a singular lunchtime you're feeling, like, rather tired, you don't want to go, like, on the playground, you don't want to, like, sit around or go to the library, why don't you just, like, head over to the dormitories and go to sleep for a little bit. You might say, hey, that's boarding school. Wait a second, you're right. That is boarding school. But still, why not? You know, let the kids sleep. Probably because, you know, kids will probably try and find a way to sneak off in there during lesson time or whatever, and actually just, like, go to sleep for a whole of class, and which you probably want to discourage, I'd imagine. But, you know, if everyone used it with best intentions, it'd be great. You could bring that ostrich pillow or whatever to school or work or whatever. You can have a fantastic time sleeping in it. It looks ridiculous, but apparently it's incredibly relaxing to sleep in it. Like, super comfy pillow, yeah. We need to buy some flowers. Audie's thinking. Audie, you are not allowed to move. So Vivian to meet me totally thought the other day. Okay, sure. We can deliver something to Vivian. We haven't had to do that for a little while, so we'll do that. Sorry, my throat also feels a bit weird. Played some Fez earlier today. That's about it. made good progress, I guess. Should we see like how far in advance the backlog is for Fez? Let's see. That's episode 8 and it's being uploaded on 25th of May. And I've recorded 2 more today, so 1st of June. Up to the 1st of June I've got videos. 10 days in advance. Could record even more, to be honest. Delivery. Special delivery. Just for you, Vivian. You know, now I think about it, a mama bear. Whoa. That girl, I swear. She may seem flighty, but she really was thinking of me. Peacemaker. What does Peacemaker go unrewarded? It wasn't actually clothing. Interesting. A plaid puffed sleeve shirt. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, like Animal Crossing villages have different sleep cycles, don't they? Like I know the sisterly villages tend to go sleep at like 2 AM or something and wake up at like 11. I don't know why I remember that so specifically. That might not even be right, to be honest. But we'll give feedback to Audie, being like, hey yo, it was all good. It's amusing that they're never like, oh, this present's terrible. I fully don't accept your apology, Audie. And Audie's like, no. I don't know where I'm going with this. Let's customize, not customize, let's craft some coconuts. We should also catch insects, I forgot. Come back here, Locus. Alright, you're gone. Fair enough. Yeah, I know. Offset sleep cycles, not a thing. Okay, wait. Let's look at that. What's it called? That the sleeping pattern. Sleeping pattern in half-hour intervals. Because it is meant to be like when you take naps or whatever, you're meant to only sleep for half an hour. What am I crafting? Oh, the coconuts. Coconuts. Biphasic sleep cycle? Bimodal? Segmented sleep. Biphasic and polyphasic sleep. There's a practice of sleeping during 2 periods over the course of 2 hours, while polyphasic is sleeping multiple times, usually more than 2. Divided sleep. Polyphasic was used by psychologist Szymanski. It did not imply any particular sleep cycle. Excuse me. Polyphasic sleep is common in many animals. Fair enough. Different ancestral sleep state for mammals. But simians are monophasic. Where is that one? The most popular alternative one. Well, I don't know. This is a good way to talk about it. Polyphasic sleep schedules. Am I ever going to implement that? No, I don't think that's really particular to my lifestyle, to be honest. A violin beetle? What the heck's a violin? Oh, violin beetles are the tree stump ones, aren't they? Which we only recently got a tree stump over here in our Deathly Forest. Oh, there was something I saw really cool to implement to like the Deathly Forest. I can't remember where I saw it, but I looked at it and it was like a really cool. Oh yeah, it's like they use dead flowers as well. Unfortunately, flowers always respawn, but you can if you like run over them. I suppose it looks kind of cool because they like dead flowers, you know. We're not going to do that because there's too much upkeep. We're not going to like run over and destroy our flowers every single day. So we're just going to keep them as the black flowers they are. Symbolism of death in so many words, but still. Here's a question: how extreme can you go with polyphasic sleep? You know, can you sleep for like 100 10-minute intervals throughout the day and still be fine? Obviously not. Like that's like micro sleeps, but like that's like nano sleeps. That's what it is. As a better pun, but still. Get back here, Locus. Like how many times can you subdivide it and still sleep fine? I can't imagine like any amount is particular. We really need to shoot a balloon. That's our 5 times interval for today. Lily really likes looking for statues, you know. Sappho and her friend sort of energy. I know that balloons spawn like every something minutes, but I don't remember how they spawn. But presumably if we keep running vertically along this island, we'll eventually find one. Just keep your ears open. Keep your hand and arms and feet inside a ride. Not a written rule, but strongly implied. Ah! Oh, this is a recipe one. Maybe that will not land on the flowers? Oh, perfect. I think it's a recipe. Red is recipe, isn't it? Never mind. I remember, but blue is biased towards materials, gold is biased towards bells, and red and green, I don't... Or maybe green is recipe and red is items. That might be more reasonable. We're going to run on a bit long, so let's sell these things. Just so we can start tomorrow with a bit more of a clean slate than having an inventory full of stuff where we can't really do anything. So yeah, I know, polyphasic sleep. I'm looking at in extreme situations, and it's all like military stuff, apart from NASA, which I guess isn't military, but you know, space military, Space Force. US military has studied fatigue countermeasures, and Air Force pilot report states each individual nap should be long enough to provide at least each individual nap should be long enough to provide at least 45 continuous minutes of sleep, although longer naps, 2 hours, are better in general. In general, the shorter the nap each individual nap is, the more frequent the nap should be. The objective remains to acquire a daily total of 8 hours of sleep. Wait, I don't think we have a model of that, so we should keep that. The others all being sold off to the chock-a-block. And we'll keep the coconuts in case we need to sell them for tomorrow's thing. NASA. Despite NASA recommendations that astronauts sleep 8 hours a day in space, they usually have trouble sleeping 8 hours at a stretch. Really? I wonder why. I guess it's kind of difficult to sleep in anti-gravity. Anyway, so if you're napping, apparently take naps for 2 hours are better, but at least 45 minutes is the way you should go. But anyway, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscriptions, shares, all greatly appreciated. Links down below. I hope we can see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now. I don't know why I said that so weirdly. More like good night for now. Hey, whoa. I don't know.